Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. A few weeks ago I asked you guys to leave me some questions that I could answer in a Q&A type video, and that is what today's video is. It's just going to be a super casual sit down video because little lady here is full of a cold and has been refusing to go down for a nap all morning. So we're both a little bit tired and grumpy, aren't we? I've wanted to do this type of video for quite a while now because I just think it's a really nice way to sort of get to know me and our family in a way that you guys actually want, because obviously it's your questions. So with that said, grab a snack, grab a cup of tea or coffee or a cold drink or whatever you fancy, and let's have a chat. So I've got all of the questions screenshotted here in my photos, and there's a mixture from Instagram and from the YouTube comments. So in no particular order, the first question, or should I say the first two questions because they're pretty much the same. How is Avery today and how's Avery doing? Hope she's feeling better. So she's full of a cold again, and like I said, I mean overall she's doing okay. She's generally a happy little girly. We just need to figure out how we can make her more comfortable through day-to-day life. So there are a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We're arranging some tests and trying to figure out what's going on that makes her poorly all the time and makes her uncomfortable. Once we figure that out, life will be a lot easier on all of us, especially Avery. Does Avery sleep through the night? Yes, she does for the most part. We do have occasions where it takes a very long time to get her down. She just won't settle. Sometimes it's not till about 10-11 o'clock that we actually are able to get her down to sleep. Some mornings she'll wake up stupidly early, like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then sometimes she will sort of wake through the night, but it's not as often as it used to be. Over the last 3 to 4 months, I would say, she's definitely started to consistently sleep through, which has been very nice. How did you and your husband meet? Love your videos. There's something about you and Avery that is delightful to watch. Oh, thank you so much. I wish I had an interesting and romantic story about how me and my husband met, but to be honest, it's not that interesting. We met on a dating app. We met on a dating app called Bumble, and the reason that I was on that particular dating app is because the girl needs to be the one to make the first move. She has to send the first message, which I really liked because I felt like it would help boost my confidence quite a bit. So we met through Bumble, and our first date was actually a play date. I only had Eli that day because Zach was with his dad and Josh had his son Marley, and we met at a play centre. So that was our first meeting. We met in a play centre and we attempted to have a conversation, but in all honesty the intercom kept going off about every 10 minutes. So every time we would try to speak, some loud voice just kept speaking over us, and it was a little bit awkward. And then when I was on my way back home with Eli, he actually called me and asked if I wanted to stop basically and meet him for dinner before we went home. So that's what we did. And then the next day he asked if I wanted to go for a carvery because it was a Sunday, and I did. And I guess the rest is kind of history. We were sort of together then from that point. Avery's gorgeous and dressed like a supermodel. Every time I'm blown away by how amazing you mother all of your children. My question, what were you like as a girl and a teen? You are so mature, and I'm sure it did not start today. Love your videos. Thank you so much. I like to think I was quite a sensible teenager. My parents might not agree with me, but in my opinion I was quite a sensible teenager. I did well in school. There were a few typical things that I did when I was a teenager that I kind of wish would go away and never be mentioned ever again, like I'm sure a lot of us do, but for the most part I was fairly sensible. When I left secondary school I actually went on to college, and I actually did some pretty heavy A-levels. I signed up for human biology, chemistry, psychology and math, and they said at the time that is a pretty heavy workload. I worry that you're not going to be able to keep up, but I was absolutely convinced I would, and it was actually my plan to go to university to be a midwife. But within the first term of college I got Bell's paralysis, and that is basically where one half of your face just kind of paralyzes. and I was put on steroids by the doctors, and they basically said you can't put yourself under any stress, otherwise the steroids won't work and you may be stuck like that forever. So I had to miss a little bit of college, and I just couldn't keep up after that. I was hanging on by a thread before I got poorly, and when I went back there was just no way I was going to keep up. So I did a massive transition, and I ended up quitting my A-levels and signing up for a national diploma in art and design, because I was quite a creative person. I loved to draw, I loved art, and my next career ambition after midwifery was to be a fashion designer. Complete night and day, I know, but in hindsight I'm glad that I did it, because when I gave birth to my first son, Zachary, I thought to myself, there is absolutely no way I could have done this. Anyway, I completely sidetracked there. When I went to college, I also worked on the weekends. I worked in a local cafe as a waitress, and that is basically how I made a little bit of pocket money for myself. When I finished college 2 years later, I went full-time at the cafe through the summer, and then I found a job in a call centre, basically. So yeah, I went from college straight into work. I did not go to university, and then I actually had Zachary quite young. I was only 19 when Zachary was born, so I feel like I was kind of thrown into adulthood quite quickly. I didn't really have that kind of single life going out phase. I didn't really like to drink much. I wasn't much of a social butterfly, to be honest. So yeah, that is basically my childhood. It's not very exciting, but it's definitely led me to be the person I am today, and I feel like I've got a good head on my shoulders. I'm quite logical, and it definitely helps me out day to day. Sorry guys, had to take a quick break to give Avery her lunch, and she finally went down for a nap. So let's continue. Avery's gorgeous. I know, right? She is, isn't she? I was wondering what the prognosis on her being able to oral feed. Question for you: how did you know your son had autism? I understand there are all sorts of levels, high functioning, etc. So I did do an entire video on Zach's autism diagnosis, and how we kind of figured that he could have possibly had autism. When he was around 1, we noticed that he would do this a lot with his hands and both his feet. So if he was sat in a high chair, he'd be wiggling his hands and his feet simultaneously. And at the time my mum said that is a sign of autism, but I just brushed it off because we had no other signs that he could have potentially been autistic. It wasn't until he went to preschool and we realised, we were told by the preschool staff that he did have a speech delay, and I was a first-time mum and we didn't get out a lot. I didn't know that his speech was delayed. I thought it was still in normal limits, he was just a bit behind, but he did have a speech delay, and that's kind of where the ball started rolling in terms of trying to figure out what was causing that. And he was assessed for autism then, and then the autism board diagnosed him with autism. I would say he is high functioning. I see a lot more of his autism kind of displaying in his social skills as he gets older, but in terms of kind of his overall day-to-day and well-being, I would definitely say he is high functioning. He is doing absolutely brilliantly. I mean, he is behind in his development. He's about 1 to 2 years behind in school, but he's doing brilliantly. He does have an educational healthcare plan that helps support him, and fingers crossed that will continue to support him throughout all of his school. Yeah, so we had an inkling, but it wasn't really until he started preschool and they kind of picked up on his delays that we thought it really could have been something more than just late development. And in terms of Avery's eating, there isn't really a prognosis as such. It's kind of the same with all of her development. Doctors can't really give you any kind of prognosis when it comes to cerebral palsy. Avery will kind of go as far as she will go, and that's that. And I think that is the hardest part, is the unknown. No one can really tell us how much she will develop and when she will learn new milestones. We just have to wait and see. She may never be able to eat orally, or one day she may not need the G-tube at all. We just don't know. Next question: will Avery be getting different / more equipment as she gets older? Yes, definitely. As she gets bigger, she will need different equipment, because the equipment that she has, to be honest, majority of it, all of it pretty much, is the smallest size, so she will obviously grow out of that equipment and need bigger equipment. But not just that, her needs will be different. Hopefully she will develop more, which means the needs for the equipment that she has now may not be the needs that she has in the future. So it is certain that she will have different / more equipment as she gets older. At the moment we are still waiting for her standard to come. That is going to be our newest piece of equipment, but her equipment will change and evolve and grow as she does. Well, that was a very short nap. This was supposed to be a simple sit down video and I feel like I've been all over the place. So Avery is back with us because she refuses to sleep for more than 10 minutes. It's okay, you can help mummy answer the question. Say Pudding. Do you find when the boys are in school that Avery gets sick more often? That is a tricky one because Avery seems to always be poorly. She doesn't get a gap, much of a gap should I say, in between illnesses. And the only kind of big school break that I can really go off, because last year she still wasn't really being treated for her dystonia and we just couldn't get a handle on keeping Avery comfortable at that time until she started different meds and got a little bit older. So the summer holidays she actually had aspiration pneumonia and a UTI. So I can't really comment on that. What I will say is that the boys only went back to school at the beginning of September and already she's had 2 back-to-back viral infections, which is why she is full of a cold now. And I've seen Eli sniffling, so I'm pretty certain that he did bring something home from school. So yes, she definitely picks up bugs from the boys' school via the boys. But I wouldn't say that she gets more sick through the term times because she was sick all through the summer holidays, but that wasn't necessarily something she caught. It was more of a bacterial thing. What does Avery love to do? If you know my channel and you know Avery, then pause this video now and comment down below on what you think that I'm gonna say. Avery loves more than anything to watch Frozen. Frozen is her favourite pastime, it's her favourite movie, it's a fail-safe for us. If she's miserable, we put Frozen on and she's happy. If we need to get stuff done around the house for 20 minutes, we put Frozen on and she's happy. If she's in the car, it's Frozen. It's Frozen. Basically, Frozen is on that TV from 7 AM till 7 PM. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean she's watching TV for 12 hours a day. That's not the case. But it is always either on pause or kind of on standby, waiting to go. It's always Frozen. But aside from that, she loves to play. She loves rough and tumble. She loves being thrown in the air. She loves having her legs wiggled. She just really likes strong sensory input. I don't know why, but it's always been the case. Even when she was really tiny, she just loved to be jiggled about. She loved to be bounced. I'd say that those are the 2 things that make her the happiest. She loves watching her brothers play, and what she loves even more is watching her brothers fight, which is the strangest thing. She's got a real fascination for when people are play fighting. If my husband's play fighting with the boys, she just stops and stares at them and she'll start to smile. It is the funniest thing. She's a very, very particular little baby. Aren't you, Pudding? Who are your top 10 favourite YouTubers? Now, I'm not gonna lie, I saw this question and I had to stop and think and write these down because I change so much. I use YouTube for 2 purposes. Well, 3 if you include uploading my own videos. But 2 purposes as a consumer. 1 is obviously for entertainment, and then 2 is to learn things. I've learned an awful lot from YouTube. I did a level 2 makeup course when I was young, but I feel like I learned the majority of my skills from YouTube tutorials. I like to do little DIY bits and upcycling around the home, and I learn how to do those things through YouTube. But when it comes to YouTubers that I always seem to go back to purely for entertainment purposes, then I do have a list of my favourites. I've kind of split them into categories, I suppose. This is me and my organised mindset. I don't watch the beauty YouTubers as much as I used to, but Jamie Genevieve is one that I've watched for a really long time and I still do like to watch her videos. Soph Does Life, I enjoy her videos as well. Back when I first started watching her, it was Soph Does Nails. I really like to watch home renovation type channels, but I like when they kind of have a story behind them. Not so much of a story, but a bit of character behind them, so it's not all about DIY and home renovation, it's just about that particular person and they just happen to be renovating. So I watched Laura Mellish Sprague. I think she may have changed her name. I'm not sure if she's changed her name on YouTube, but I know that she recently got married. Freya Farrington, she is renovating at the moment as well. And one thing that those two creators have in common in particular is the fact that they're both renovating a Victorian style property, and I just fell in love with their properties and I'm just really keen to see what they do with them. Catherine Manning is probably the one I watch the most at the moment. A funny story, I actually started watching Catherine Manning because she did videos about YouTube tips and how to start a YouTube channel and just kind of how to navigate YouTube, I suppose. But then she stopped doing that. She did a complete rebrand and now she does more kind of vlog style videos, and she's actually renovating like a big lake house at the minute. So I actually watch her vlogs now purely because I guess I fell in love with her personality, but the reason I started watching her is because she had a lot of good information. House of Hughes, obviously I've got to mention House of Hughes because she is in a very similar niche to me, I suppose. One of you guys recommended their channel ages and ages ago and I watched them, I loved them, I subscribed to them, and then since then so many of you have been telling me to go over and watch them, but I am already subscribed, I do watch them. I'm not gonna lie, I struggle to keep up with the videos because she does post like 4 or 5 times a week, and good on her. I mean, it is really hard work. I struggle just to get 2 videos up a week, but I do enjoy watching that channel. I enjoy seeing how Beckham gets on, and Avery really likes watching Beckham too. I actually posted a video a few weeks back where I caught Avery smiling at Beckham. It was the cutest thing. Brittany Vasseur is another one that I've watched for a really long time. She kind of does more organisational type videos, and you guys know me, I love a bit of organisation, and she's just one that stuck with me for a really long time. Becca Bristow, now she's one that I started watching when I was pregnant because I really enjoyed watching her what I eat in the day videos, and I've actually got a few really good recipes from her in the past as well. She makes this Dutch baby, which is like, it's supposed to be like a high protein pancake, but if you live in the UK and you've ever made one, it basically looks like a giant Yorkshire pudding, and it tastes quite similar to a giant Yorkshire pudding, but you're meant to have it as more of a sweet food, and it's really, really good. So I enjoy her channel, I enjoy seeing what kind of things she makes, and I think she's got more of a kind of homesteading type vibe, which I really enjoy. On the topic of food, Cupcake Gemma is also one that I always go back to because I'm not sure if I've mentioned this on my channel before, but I love to bake. I'm actually pretty good, not to toot my own horn, I think I'm pretty good at baking cakes in particular. I used to bake cakes for all of my kids' birthdays. I made Avery's christening / first birthday cake. I always make this chocolate orange cheesecake at Christmas time. I really enjoy baking, and I think one of my resolutions for next year is going to be to try and make a cake for all of my children's birthdays because I enjoy doing it. I like decorating them and I feel really proud of myself. But Cupcake Gemma, I always watch their tutorials because they have some really good recipes and some that I've definitely used over and over again. So I think that's 9, and then my last favourite YouTuber, I'm just gonna say myself because I am my biggest supporter. What do you love to do as a family? One of our favourite things to do as a family is to get lots of snacks in, lots of junk food, popcorn, crisps, chocolate, and sit down and watch a movie. The kids call it our family movie nights, and to be honest, they're only ever interested if food's involved, but I don't mind that because it means that we're all sat together for a little period of time watching a film, and that just doesn't happen very often because we're always busy with Avery. The boys just want to play on their Switches and their Xbox. But over the last year in particular, I definitely say going to Disneyland was my favourite experience that we did as a family. It was just magical. The boys had a great time. Avery seemed to really enjoy it. Oh, sorry, am I fibbing? Did you not enjoy it? I thought you liked meeting Olaf. Yeah, that was really, really incredible, and it's definitely something I would love to do again. My boys also really like to play Monopoly. However, I'm not going to say that's something we enjoy doing as a family. If you've ever played Monopoly, then you know how frustrating it can be, and we cannot play a game of Monopoly as a family without someone arguing, and to be honest, it's usually me and my husband because we're so competitive. Do you watch any of the soaps? If you're from the US, soaps are basically kind of like sitcoms that are on every single weeknight. I used to watch all of the soaps. My mum, I think, still does, and I suppose that's where I got it from. I used to sit and watch all of the soaps with my mum. As I've gotten older and technology and platforms have kind of evolved, I rarely watch TV anymore, to be honest. There's a few TV shows that I always go back to and kind of re-watch if I feel like it, but most of the time I stick to YouTube, so I don't watch any of the soaps anymore. And the last question is, will your husband ever be in your vlogs? Now, I've been asked this question a few times in the comments, and when I first started my channel, my husband was absolutely adamant that he didn't want to be in my videos in any way, shape or form. So if I could hear his voice in a clip, I'd cut that part out. If I could see his face in the background, I would cut that part out. If there were pictures of him and I together in the background, I would have to cut that part out. That is what he asked of me, and obviously I have to respect that because it's his privacy and that is up to him. But he has recently had a change of heart, so if you do pay a lot of attention to detail, you'll notice that over the last few weeks I haven't worked as hard to cut things like pictures in the background out of my video. Now, I'm not saying that he and I will be doing a sit down video anytime soon. He's already said, you know, please do not point the camera in my face and ask me questions. That's fair enough, and I respect that, but it makes it easier for me because if I happen to get him in a clip that I'm filming and he happens to be in the background or something like that, then he doesn't mind if I keep it in. So keep your eyes peeled. In the future you may see him in a few of my vlogs. I would just like to ask here, because that question has been asked so much, how many of you think that my husband was make-believe? Because that is something that I would have thought. She doesn't have a husband, she talks about him all the time, but he's never in the video. So that is all of the questions. I hope you enjoyed the answers. Sorry this is a bit of a simple video, but if you've been watching my vlogs, then you will know I am absolutely rammed over the next couple of weeks, and I just wanted to make sure I had a video up for you guys, and I just thought this one would be fun to film, and it's kind of been nice getting to know what you guys want to know about me as well. If you did enjoy it, then don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button so you can follow us along on our journey. And with that said, I will see you guys in a few days with another video. Bye guys. Right, can you stop flopping, Missy Moo? Can you stop flopping? What are you doing? Bend! Bend the knee!